Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to TFC Open Mic. This is Season 3, Episode 30. So what do we title this one? I called this one the Mid-Bounty Muses. I didn't know what else we called it, to be honest, but Bounty, yeah. Love to hate it. I don't know. Evening, guys. Hey, Robin, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Yeah. Bit bored, actually, to be honest, but there we go. Adam, evening, how are you, mate?
Mid-bounty monotony.
I should have called it monotony. Yeah, you're right. Hey, Adam.
Doing swimmingly.
Doing swimmingly, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we'll start with Bounty. I'll post the link in the chat in case people have missed it. Please feel free to hop in because we've got a few things to talk about tonight. So, Bounty first. What's the transition? The transition is obviously you can't go in and nip somebody's OP in their real life base and then just exit to get the 600. So there's none of that shenanigans anymore, which leaves us with doing the real thing or hitting the NCP, bluff bases out in the front, the copied bases. And for me, it's the dullest thing ever. I don't know what you think. I'm bored out of my brains. I can't find anybody worth anything on the locator. Let me just click on it now as I'm in game. Nope. Highest I can see is 165 points. That's it.
Yeah, the locator is just
rubbish.
It's just a show, basically. You're best off just going to the leaderboard and going through that way. Just pick someone random on the leaderboard and then search around that sector, see if there's anyone actually worth hitting.
Yeah, I've found that and I've seen that and I've done that a couple times, but half the time when you click on them, they're bubbled. Everybody around them is bubbled, and by the time that it takes you to find a base that's worth like 1,000, I could have hit like 6 map targets and gotten the same points.
Yeah, that's my concern. Yeah, it's a catch-22, isn't it? I mean, I literally just sailed to one location, and then one of the guys from BPL was literally at the sort of like relay point just as I came through. He'd already just sort of like exited, and he was going to the same base that I was, which is the only one I found worth 1,000 probably all afternoon. So yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah, there's a guy in our world who is, I don't know why, but he has one of those bases where everything's like spread out and there's like 27 individual islands, each with a turret on it.
Those ones, yeah.
There was probably like 8 people last night in chat because at one point he was worth like 3K. 8 people in chat all salivating over him, and then there's like all these fleets parked around.
Oh, it's annoying, isn't it? Yeah. Sorry, I just noticed their live chat. Okay, so yeah, Terry's in there. How you doing, buddy? Ford's in there moderating as well. G Daddy, how you doing, buddy? Comes in for a while. Jim, Andrew, Serpent Soul. That's all I can read, I think. Off the Lady Cat, yeah, and a few others as well. So, yeah, good. I don't know. What do we think of the prizes for this bounty? Do you think this ship is worth having? Is it going to replace, obviously, what we've got on our guards at the moment? I mean, you get 2 of them for 40, don't you? Do we going to use both of them, or I don't know? What do you think about it?
I think the ship's kind of, well, not kind of. It's fairly weak.
Is it like a stocking filler? Do you reckon? I don't know.
It looks like a stocking filler. The stuff we've already got, things like wardens are just leaps and bounds ahead of it. Unless a flagship comes out that has similar special abilities as the High Guard Warden, this thing's just not going to be used very much.
Yeah,
especially for antis. They're pushing out as an anti-ship.
It's not an anti-ship, is it?
But with the High Guard Warden's special abilities, a normal Warden will just outclass us really easily.
Yeah, I think you're right. To be honest, yeah, a normal Warden would, and the flagship even more so.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not impressed. So this is the age-old adage of more is not necessarily better, and in this instance, they pushed out that flagship supposed to be the flag buff to the the missile. Sorry, the radioactive. Joke, which the efforts, and obviously the cruiser, which is underpowered in some areas and definitely under protected. And I don't see. I mean, I looked at a quick build, 19 days. There's no way I'm building that thing for 19 days. It's not worth 19 days worth of effort, as far as I'm concerned. There's got to be better stuff out there, or if not, I'll just carry on relying on what I'm using at the moment and miss out some of the other bases that I really don't care about. I mean, I hit a few bases in Bounty, and my standard everyday MSC tank with a few more chuckers behind it is doing quite fine. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to build the thing. I don't know.
Is this just going to be yet another hole that sits in your channel and gets driven past?
Yeah, probably right, to be honest.
Pretty much, yeah. It doesn't have any damage buffs. It's really just an anti-ship, but it's a pathetic anti-ship at that. You need projectile speed, and this thing just doesn't have it. As far as I can see, it's just going to be garbage.
But isn't that the problem with the game right now? If you come out with a boat that you don't drive past, it kills you too quick, and you don't get in to begin with.
Yeah, you're probably right. And hey, Rum, how you doing? Sorry, mate.
Not a problem. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
The only thing I can see this doing is putting the throwers on it, and even at that, you could use an Ifrit, which will do the same thing.
Right. Again, that's where we're at with the game. The only way to do it is to make minor moves, then people get stale, or make major moves and they get pissed off because they can't stop it, or they can't get past it, whichever you're talking about, as far as a hunter or a conqueror or a defender.
Okay, so I may have just shot myself in the foot here. Are we saying that this is not a huge step forward? This is just a slight adaptation and another way of doing things, maybe?
Well, yes. I mean, it's back to possibly the minor swings that you can
baby steps, yeah, which is almost a bad thing to say, but maybe actually we're wanting something that we didn't want in the first place now, Well,
yeah, but to me, I think the move should be made to possibly overhaul the game in a strategy style instead of just watch this explosion. It's watching a fireworks. Yeah. Because that's clicking the back of the base has never been fun. I mean, where's the joy in that?
Where we're at the moment, it's either click the back of the base, and you'll walk it, or
die.
Or die. Yeah, there's no grey areas, is there? There's no. I've got a good effort. If I'm doing it right, I'm going to be able to win this one.
Well, but isn't that where Kix wants to be, because they get maximum damage on both sides? The base hitter, if he goes in a base and dies, typically is going to go out, coin his repair, and move on to the next base. That's what Bounty's about, for sure.
That's what they're encouraging to do in Bounty. Yes, I agree.
Well, it's where they're going with everything, because if you give maximum damage to the guard fleet, he can slow repair because his base is dead, and he can do whatever. But if you give him a tough enough boat, it's damaged. He's got to repair it to put it back in. I don't know.
The worst feeling I have at the moment is because sloths are so good, and generally you don't have to repair your sloths, you're only having to repair 1 or 2 tanks.
Yeah.
It feels like they're almost punishing people for using sloths, so things like ECMs being buffed without anyone noticing. If you hit top bases,
there has been some buffs, yeah, you're right. There has been some, definitely.
That's an interesting point, because remember when the sloth first came out, everybody was like, meh, not going to build this.
Mm.
And then,
I wasn't.
Well, initially, and then they brought out the Brenner sloth, and then they made some other changes and brought the new mortars out and everything. And
absolutely.
Yeah, it's interesting that this one has lasted as long as it has, and it's not always been constant. There have been times where like the sloth is king, and then there's been, I think it was the cat mortar that came out or something that wiped them off the map until they made some changes and stuff. So it's been very interesting that one has been so versatile with all of the changes.
What I think part of the problem that we're facing is the programming is one-sided, and it's all, I'm not going to pick on them because I know they're here to make money, but the programming is all about how can we totally maximize coins instead of a trade-off of providing us with fun and allowing us to be, I don't ever want to say happy to coin, but to be happy to coin.
Mate, that goes back to my comment I made the other day on the forums. When we had the initial, when Wrong Thinker posted up and he was coming to lead the team on the development side, and as I said there, if you make it fun, we'll pay. If it's boring, we won't. It's as simple as that. It's if it's enjoyable, people are happy to participate and actually then spend some of their hard-earned money on something that's really enjoyable, because there's an investment and a return, isn't it? It's not just I'm doing it. I mean, Bounty, we're doing it because we've got to. Nobody wants to do it. I don't know anybody that actually wants to sit here and do this Bounty.
You know what? The mechanics they have in the Bounty now, this is the biggest fail in Bounty that they've had. Because you can't hit anything. Everybody has an opportunity to secure immediately. You go hit a base, you got drones. You can't drain the drones, so you almost have to one-hit a base. Who can one-hit a base effectively?
A good
top
base.
end guys.
A good base. Yeah.
And but isn't that the only place you're really going to get any bounty worth hitting?
Yeah, everybody else just does a little bit, gets on, secures it, and goes away.
Yeah, when you can secure 5 times and then secure it every 10,000, it's a fail. It's not where it needs to be.
Or secure while you're being hit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a win-win for both sides, but it's still not the point. The person's still taking damage. In fact, they're both. I mean, that is a win-win for Kixeye, because then everyone's taking damage, and then they both feel like they've got something. And that is an unusual scenario to be in, I have to say.
Well, it's crazy because you go hit a base, you got to take the OP to get bounty. OPs, if you bought into bounty and paid up all the whatever it is that you got to pay, the uranium and all that stuff then your OP is basically unkillable for most people. I can't tell you how many bases I've gone out and hit, and the 2 spotters or tanks or whatever you want to call them are strong enough to get back there, but by the time you get back there, something has happened and you've lost your sloths or you've lost your spotters, and one without the other can't get back there, and the MSC and the impact cruiser are not enough to kill OPs that are built right.
Yeah, I think I've said this almost every bounty, but the fact that you can get 75% extra defense on buildings with high defense already is just ridiculous. You can't have it with fleets being able to actually get to the end of the base. It's just not possible. You're forced at the moment to make ships which have high min pass through.
Yeah,
high min pass through. That's the only way you can successfully get either kill a guard. But if you run the high pass through ships, you're never killing the OP because you have to have the damage.
Right.
You can't have it both ways. They can't expect us to have it both ways. And yet they still, no matter how many times we've said it, continue to have the 75% bonus. Well,
the one thing that is crossing my mind is I've participated in 11 out of 12 bounties. Obviously, we protested 1. The rule of 50% plus the OP in order to get any bounty, I think, is a broken mechanic. What I was thinking of is if you get any combination of 50% in the base, this is also going to work to make people design their bases better. If you get any combination of 50% in the base, you get 50% of the bounty. If you get to 75, you get 100% of the bounty, instead of making you go 100%, OP to get the 100%.
So wait a minute. So you're saying if you get 50% of my base, regardless of whether it's the OP or not, you get 50% of my unsecured bounty?
Of what's there.
Okay. If you get 75% and say plus the OP, then you're saying that you can get 100% of my unsecured bounty?
See, that's obviously I'm not a programmer and I haven't sat down to put the numbers to it yet.
No. I was just trying to think. So you're saying that if someone can truly get into a hard base, and there are some hard bases out there, there's lots of them, but if someone can actually get into a hard base to where they take the OP, then your thinking is that the steal rate should be higher than the base 50%.
Yes. If you're going to make me get everything, reward me for it. Because you can go in and kill everything in a base and leave 98 or kill 98% of the OP, and you get nothing.
Yeah, that would overcome the issue of OPs being super strong, and I think they, at the moment, something is you shouldn't be able to do it. I mean, that happened to me 3 times in the last bounty, not so much in this one, because it's, I don't think people are that interested in hitting bases, and everyone's taking the opportunity, obviously, to bank when it's necessary. But I had 2 people hit me, and they literally just sat there for like 2.5 minutes, and they just couldn't kill the OP. It just wasn't possible, and I knew that before they even went in. Well, sorry, I knew that as they approached, because I knew what ships they had, and I was like, that you're not going to be able to do the OP. It's just not possible.
Well, but at that point, you created an unbeatable basis, which has always been something that Kix has fought against, right?
Yeah. No, agreed. Yeah, I agree with you.
But you'd have to. I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to think from like from a steal percentage. If that were the case, so let's say you go in there and smash up this really, really hard base and you can get 100%. If the person is allowed to bank while you're in the middle, let's say you come over and track me. If I've got 5K unsecured and you're in the middle of doing this huge thing, and I'm able to bank, you'd have to, unless I've got 5K unsecured, you'd have to get that 5K, but then I'm still keeping my 5K, so there's like no detriment to me. So why would I bother? Why would I bother to build my specky base, or attempt to attempt to build this specky base if I know that I can instantly bank as soon as you hit my guard on the outside, or as soon as you come into my base? So
you've nailed the problem.
Yes.
It's back to the banking.
If they set it so that, say, your fleet that's guarding your base is under attack, or your base is under attack, and you cannot bank while that is happening, then it should be fine. There shouldn't be any issues. It's where people put guards in the bases and say someone comes along, hits it. Well, it's going to take a few minutes to kill the fleet, because you don't do enough damage. You have to do min pass through to a ship that has 2.3 million health. So
how about
as soon as they see they're being hit, that's it. The bank, you're not getting anything.
Yeah, they're taking their guard fleets out of their base. They're putting their wardens and their high guards in the guarding fleet on the outside.
Yeah,
because
but see, there's a mechanism right here that they could take advantage of if they want to. It brings strategy back in, which is what we all play the game for to begin with. If you have a guard on your base, and I attack that guard, you can't bank. It makes you bank at odd times, not just when you're going to be hit. It makes you use up those automatic banks, or not automatic, excuse me, the choice banks at a strategic time.
Yeah, see that the reason I really like this the ability to bank when you can bank is because there are so many people that are different hours in the US, and there are so many people that nobody wants to spend 12 hours a day grinding out bounty or trying to protect it. And I did it one night. I had 30K unsecured, and I set up, I think it was till like 4 o'clock in the morning when I finally did get schwacked. And
the old last day method,
nicked off with my 16K, and that was brutal. And I never want to do that again. So
that was the reason they took away I think it was 52K
final day. Yeah.
To put it to 10K, it's not terribly difficult to get the 10K. It really isn't.
No.
The difficulty of getting the 10K at the moment is finding a target worth actually hitting, other than farming the basically NPC bases, which is just us back to a raid format. We're not doing a raid format, we're doing PvP. Why are we having to fight NPC bases?
But doesn't this come down to one crux, right? Enforcing PvP is not giving players options. PvP is something we want to do when there's time to do it. We want to do it our way. You're testing out your base building capabilities, and then you're testing out your base hitting capabilities. The fact that they've created an event and they call it a PvP event, which it certainly isn't. It's basically a glorified PvE event and just give it a different name. Yes, the only thing you can do is actually attack some bases, but the mechanic of it doesn't work. So it ends up being a PvE event. With a replica base, I understand that, but it's still not. You can retreat as many times as you like. You can exactly as soon as you walk in there. Oh yeah, okay. The only difference between a standard PvE target is ideally not any two should be the same. Well, that's not quite true, because I've definitely hit more than one base that's identical to another one. Maybe that's just because people copy the bases. I don't know, but I've hit several bases that are identical to each other. So this is a PvE event. It's not a PvP. It's a PvE event, no different than what the raid is, with some people taking advantage of doing half level, half repair, and doing a bit of PvP whilst they're in the middle of the raid. It's exactly the same thing as far as I'm concerned. Apart from, obviously, when they're PvPing in this, they are getting the opportunity, potentially, of getting some points along the way.
You know what's one of the biggest clues that it's a PvE event instead of a PvP event? Every time I go hit a base and I get 1,000 points or I get 2,000 points, because that's all you're going to see if they're unlucky enough to not be able to bank. I get dirty email. I get nasty messages. Call me a jerk, call me all sorts of names, different things. Says I'm sitting here working my butt off, hitting these targets, getting these points, and you just want to lay back and wait and come take them. Well, wait, isn't that the object of the game?
Well, let me ask you this: the last raid that I did was the first one that I did with the banking. I missed the original first one. So my experience with the banking was the last one where we had the bonus that was on the bases. I went out and smashed, I don't know how many player bases. I know there were people that were out there that were just hitting, map targets and stuff, and maybe hitting a couple of bases. I had a blast, and I mean, I was hitting bases all over the place because everybody was worth money. Everybody was worth bounty points. How would you feel if the same thing was there, if there was a extra bounty on a base that you could take, but like a limit was put in place, meaning that, once I hit rum 5 times, then I can't hit him anymore throughout the bounty?
Sure, no problem.
Because I think the bigger issue, or at least from what I'm seeing, and maybe I'm interpreting it wrong, is that it wasn't that people's bases were worth more points. It was that people were able to get points maybe not the way that was originally intended. And so there were a lot of people that pulled their guards. There were a lot of people that, basically just left their base bed and dead, and it self-repaired, and, they didn't care if they were worth 1,000. So I was like, well, if they limit how many times I can hit a base within the bounty event, then that takes that away. I still have the option to go hit bases. Bases are still worth something to me. Even the little guys were doing it. Because I mean, Venom, you're in my sector, and there were some lower level players. I mean, even they were going out swacking bases because everybody was worth at least 200 points, and I found it a lot more entertaining to go out and hit a real base than to hit an NPC base.
Oh, absolutely.
Just because it belonged, I think. It's just because it almost went back to the old adage of, Battle Pirates is about PvP. It is, because it's where it derived from. It never derived from hitting, and doing chores. The chores have become the most lucrative part in the game, which is what Kixeye are feeding off of, and making the game turn, more worryingly so, even more so, into a PvE event, game. Sorry, not event, but a game in itself. And with this is a bit tinfoil hats, but the way the app is going, the future has been interesting. I don't know what's going to be happening, but an awful lot more. I'm watching the AMP at the moment with some curious thoughts of where they're taking it, because I think the app already has got too much capability, and it's no longer a companion. It's now a replacement for certain things, where it was just a case of you can go and patch up a fleet, and you can go and notice you've been hit and that sort of stuff. You can do most of the chory stuff now on the app.
But that's not a bad thing, is it? We don't like to do the chores.
Not if they're going to turn it into the direction where the whole game ends up being a point and click.
No, that's not what I want. I don't. That's not what I'm after. What I'm saying is, everybody complains about the chores, right? I mean, everybody to a man complains that it's too chory. The word that you use, chory, was something that was created, but that's exactly what it is, and that's the frustrating part. We want to play the game, and the play part of it is PvP, right?
But that's the only thing that I can see the app would never give you. So if it went to the app per se permanently, and we lost the PC element or whatever it is, the app or whatever it is, then that's the death of Battle Pirates as I know it. And I would stop instantly. I would just stop playing.
Kixeye has to see that.
Because I hope so. let me ask you this though, right? You're saying about taking 100% off a base, right? A person like me has to grind my ass off to get my points. I have to wait till I've got about 1,200 points on my base, so someone will come and take it till they get a 3-hour bubble, so I can continue playing with my ship that's already outside.
But stick a gunboat out, mate. If you're online, you are grinding your ass off.
Yeah,
you know, if you stick a gunboat outside, then they're not hitting your base; they're hitting the guard. That means then you have the chance to use up one of your 5, and that's a risk you take, and it's a valid risk, an understandable one.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. If someone's actually in your base and they've created the hit and it started, then I don't think you should have the opportunity to bank then.
Yeah.
No.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, if they made bases harder for you to get in, and you got a lot of damage for hitting just one base instead of going out hitting 60 bases and taking all their points, would you still play bounty?
I'm to the point now where I was considering not doing this bounty.
That's what I'm saying. If the make base is too hard for you to get in, you won't play it. You won't coin. They want you to coin, so they make me work my balls off so that I can get points so you can take them.
G Daddy, do you think I'm? No, I know. I understand it. You're not talking about me. You're talking about players in general. Okay, but my question is, I'm grinding now. I've only got 40,000 points. The top leaders have 200,000 or whatever. I've had very limited time this bounty to get on and play because I've got a project going on at work.
Right.
Okay. I can't do anything. I don't have my normal amount of time. So I'm going to miss out on some items that I may need, because now if you miss a good prize, if you miss a good opportunity to take whatever, you're setting yourself back at least 2 weeks to 4 weeks if you can catch up.
Yeah, see, and that's where the old bounty, you know, the NPCs are great, and I mean, I enjoy hitting them, I'm not going to lie. But the old bounty, you would end up without the checkpoints. You would end, or with the, we had the checkpoints to where you could get like 18k, and then that was it. Anything over that was at risk. And then there was the big checkpoint on the last day, and the 57 one was stupid, but because it was set up that way, there was always somebody that potentially was worth 4 or 5k, and so you don't have the ability to go out and do that because everybody's banking. And so even though they have the checkpoints throughout the day, the net result of that from the player perspective is great. I don't have to sit here and grind. I don't have to sit here and babysit my points till it's, oh my god, in the morning and somebody gives me a battle. The bad part about that is that it takes all of the bounty that's available to other players basically out of the game. And so someone like you or someone who is getting on late at night and there's nobody there, basically the only choice you do have is to grind.
Yeah, and that makes it feel more like a chore again. And I've got enough chores. It's
so where's the middle ground? Do you think maybe in this? I'm just asking this. I mean, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm just curious. So you think less checkpoints, or still allow the player to choose those checkpoints, or a cap on the amount that you can put in there, or I mean, what do you think?
You don't need checkpoints that you can put in yourself. You've got checkpoints that you can work yourself towards. If players come and hit you, so be it. It's a PvP event, and the fact that you can bank stops players from participating in PvP. They go straight to PvE, grinding the targets.
That I agree with you, David, but I think that there should be one caveat to that. I think that you need to choose a certain... Okay, let's face it. We still need to help out the level 50s, the level 75s, the level 80s, whatever. I think that you give those type people, they can't go out and hit a big base. They can't go out and steal bounty. All they can do is grind. I think those people should have whatever banks they need because they're working to get better. If I go out and smash them and take all their points, I'm going to make them want to quit. If you reduce the number or the amount of banking that they can have, you're discouraging them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, someone just posted in chat. So like level, these are just numbers that were thrown out. So level 50 gets like 6 banks on day 1, whereas like a level 129 gets 1. Maybe not those numbers, but
strategy, responsible banking.
level still means nothing in this game anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's a notional. I agree. I think that's a notional. A level 60, a level this. I think you're right. I think it's done on level. I mean, if you say you're taking and you're utilizing, say, tier 5 tech and that sort of stuff, tier 5 tech gives you the opportunity to bank away. You're never going to hit a top level base with tier 5 tech. It's not going to happen. So if that's the best you got in your base, that dictates then what you've got. That's the fleets that you've got. So, I mean, the whole mechanic between base level and that sort of stuff is just Hefty's in chat, hey mate. It's a dead dark, and it has been for 24 months, probably even longer, 36 months. Base level don't mean nothing, and it's a really bad mechanic to use as a guide. And I don't know how they're going to go away from it. Like I said, we've all discussed tiers and various different things and tech and that sort of stuff, but something needs to be done because it's still the only metric that we have, and it's the only metric that Kixeye use, particularly to judge. They've already said, I mean, going into a TLC, for example, 2 of them this week, one said you must be level X, Y, and Z. The other one said you must be tech level X, Y, and Z. Well, stop double capping. Pick one or the other, but pick one that's relevant. And base level certainly isn't relevant. Someone that does PvE and never does PvP, can be up in the hundreds now on base level easy, but can have no PvP ships at all.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone here on the panel or anyone in chat is, we all say that it's a PvP event, and yes, it's PvP hitting, but everybody was little at some point, so everybody knows the struggle. So it's not like big players are trying to go out and smack little players and get a bunch of easy points, because that's actually probably the opposite to what the big players want. But there has to be some kind of way to allow folks to grow, but also give the higher level players who have spent all of their coin on these fleets and spent the gazillions of hours that I know they do tweaking them, getting them down to where you get the best possible defenses and stuff, to be able to go out there and hit other bases and be successful. So
here's a question, and it's mostly to those guys in chat. Do you find, even as a concept, bounty more enjoyable than the raid?
Can I answer?
Well, because it's intriguing. Because I don't know if I prefer one to the other at all. What I don't like is the fact there's 36 prizes available this time in bounty. Where's it going to end up? Is it going to be 42 next? Is it going to be 45 next? Is it going? It's climbing.
Stores.
It's also gone up in prices as well. So you're getting 120 million now before you get all of everything.
That's what I'm saying, because the quantity of items that are available, even if some of them are a replacement, it's a token for this and a token for that, because it's like, we're not going to charge you to go and build those turrets. You've got to go and win the tokens, or you're going to have to go and get titanium and that sort of stuff to do it instead. But it is interesting that whilst we said we weren't going to have more raids, if this is basically a PvE event, and there's now up into the late 30s of amount of things you can. Okay, some things people have already got clearly, but it is climbing that way. So I'm just wondering who enjoys things more. I mean, is it really fun to go and stick your? I mean, I think the most fun that the big alliances have is going sitting on a golden nexus and then fighting against each other.
It is,
which is a win-win for Kixeye, because I mean, you've got those things to coin and fix cost a fortune. The PvE fleets, probably the PvP fleets are at least sort of like somewhere between sort of 7 and 15 coins, or some a little bit more. So that's a real win-win, and that's about the only bit that's probably enjoyable. The base on base is a one-on-one person thing, unless someone's going to go and prep for you, but they'll just bank. So prepping's not going to work. So apart from Golden Nexus, I can't see anything else that's really that exciting, to be honest.
And the Golden Nexus gets to the point to where it can be so expensive that, if you lose your mega completely and you want to get back in the battle, it's 140 coins.
Yeah, that's nuts, isn't it?
Bring it back up. How many times are you going to drop $14 per boat to get back in the battle and play?
Never.
Okay. It's never happening.
Exactly.
I do want to put from the perspective of somebody that is not a huge base hitter, I really like bounty. It busted me out of my shell. I mean, I never used to hit bases. I was all into defense. I was happy if I could scratch the paint, and that was all that it took to make me happy. So it really made me come out of my base hitting shell and spend a lot more time with fleets and base hitting fleets and going out and hitting bases that I would, oh my God, never touch in real life because A, somebody may be watching, and B, I'd get the hate mail afterwards. So for someone like me, and I know for a lot of other players, that aspect is enjoyable, but not the grind where you have to go out and, in order to get any of the nice shiny toys at the top, you have to supplement that with hours and hours and hours of hitting NPC bases. So I like the reward for hitting bases and going out and doing that and actually getting something. So for me, I like it.
Yeah, see, I love bounty. I've loved the idea of bounty since the time they mentioned it. It's absolutely fantastic. It gets boring when, like the last bounty, when you could get your 600 points. The good thing about it was it put a lot of money in the economy to go out and be able to hit stuff. The bad part about it was how boring was it? Repetitive. That's the difference between, you ask who likes the raid versus who likes the bounty. I'll take the bounty every time because not every base is the same. It gives me a reason to sit back and think, okay, how do I want to hit this? When you go out and you play the raid, yourself, George, Ren, somebody's going to come up with a build that they share. Somebody's going to come up with a pathing or pathing, as you say. And then everybody goes out, rinse, repeat. Do it 500 times, collect your 1.2 billion, spend it, and it's done. And you're brain dead by the time you're done. You've got no reason to think. You got no reason to do anything but sit back and click. But if I'm going into your base, I've got to figure out the right way to hit it, the right boat to hit it, and the right time to hit it.
I mean, I've just literally, no, I understand. I mean, I've just literally found a base. I've been clicking and clicking and clicking the icon. I've just found a base, level 128. I thought, yeah, great. He's got 1.7k. I'm going to go and get it. I can see his high guard warden and his fleet sitting outside his base because his points are going up slowly. I've just been watching him for the last 10 minutes, right? And he's got a 484 level fleet on the outside.
Yeah.
Which, go anywhere near it, he's just going to go bank, isn't he? So it's just...
Well, but see, again, that's where I was talking earlier. If you attack their fleet, there should be a cooldown period that they can't bake. Everybody deserves an opportunity to take that if he doesn't want to bank it ahead of time.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. All I know is, to me personally, and we'll move on to something else, is bounty is still bust. It's not, after 12 now, it's not ever, apart from, I think, Bounty 7, I think, the problem with Bounty is, unlike a PvE event, which is totally under control, the Bounty event is a bit different because whilst they keep the ethos of the event the same, people's bases change. And what people do to protect their bounty is changing. Like taking your guard out and putting it on the outside and that sort of stuff, because, and then just banking when you're on and then making sure that you've got your 5 banks and making sure that when you're offline, you've got nothing, or certainly nothing that's worthwhile taking. So as a mechanic and as a concept, I still think it's on the drawing board. And I have not found a single event which I've turned around at the very, very end and gone, that went well. It doesn't matter what I personally think about it and whether I've done the bounties or I haven't done the bounties, but as a concept, so far, it's still up in the air. And I don't think it's going to fall on the side of a successful outcome. And I think it needs to be revisited. It's nice to get people back doing base hitting. I do agree with you, but I don't think it's achieved what they thought it was going to achieve. I really don't. Not that they're stopping it, because they won't, because it's drawing in money, and anything that draws in money, they're going to keep it going.
Yeah, but that's part of the problem. I think if they were to give the players something that was fun and not overly expensive, they would continue to play. They would continue to have more fun. You would see base hitting develop. If they want to charge for PvE, if that's where they make their money, let them make their money. But give things in, and again, we're talking about a different theory than what they've gone with. Give things in the raid that you need to do to be successful in bounty, so that it makes it more fun.
Well, let me tell you this then. Last night, I don't know whether you watch other shows, but I watched a show last night where a really big coiner actually said in this bounty that he wasn't going to coin at all because he told all his alliance that he wasn't going to coin because he wants to see what it's like for them.
That was Dr. Death, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Death. So he
Yeah,
tried
yeah, I
it
know him,
last
yeah.
night, and he said that he hated this bounty. He absolutely hates it
Massive grind, yeah.
because it's a massive grind. Yeah. Because he can't coin, because he's told everybody he won't coin. It's hard, I'll tell you that now. It is really hard. I've got 22k just by hitting. Like I said, I wait until someone hits me for about 1,200, so they take 600 off me, or if it's 2,400, they take 1,200 off me, something like that. Give me a 4-hour bubble, I go play for them 4 hours and get about 20k.
You entice them as much as you can, yeah. If you do that just before the 12 o'clock deadline, mate, you're doing well, because you could get 2 lots of 800, and obviously, sorry, the 6 p.m. UK time anyway. And then obviously you can get your 5 hits as well at the very, very end, and hopefully get the whole lot banked away. So
yeah, I actually made a mistake earlier on. I got the bubble and it popped just before I got my 800, so I checked my 10,000 and then it gave me 800. I was like, oh damn, I've got 800 on my base now. So yeah, I've worked it out now where you have to do it about 2 hours before you bubble, before your next drip.
yeah.
So it works. It can,
Anyway, okay. So that's bounties. Any other bits you want to talk about? Venom, happy? Yeah.
Driving should be banned because
NASCAR driving. Yeah. The amount of people I've seen. But I mean, okay, I mean that's a valid point. Nobody. I mean, we've mentioned this before several times. Nobody wants to take extra damage in their base because you've only got 4 hours to fix the damn thing. So everyone's NASCAR. I watched two big alliance players doing it literally this last 24 hours, and I thought, yeah, they're in a massive alliance. They won't drive. Oh yeah, it was NASCAR and the Indy 500 all rolled into one. You know. Big high level players, and they were like that, following people. And there was no way. I said to my guy, "Mason, just exit, mate. He's going to follow you all the way around, and you're not going to even get to the OP, let alone freaking anything else." I said, "Normally you could driven past him."
Absolutely, there is a tangible reward for the time and the points that are on my base that isn't there when it comes to medals, other than bragging rights. And if I've spent 5 hours grinding out 9,000 points and somebody hits me, you bet I'm going to drive.
Yeah, and everybody does. Everyone chases them with their onslaughts and that sort of stuff, and they're chasing them like crazy, you know.
But
it gets me that though when people say, you know, you shouldn't drive in your base, but if I hit your base, you'll probably drive to stop me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Swings and roundabouts, isn't it? You can't.
I don't care how people play. If they want to drive, you know, that's totally up to them. But
I mean, that's another thing. This new ship plus the Wardens, no one's going to put all those ships in their base and have none of them movable. It's just not going to happen because they don't want to drive a thing.
I agree. Yes, people can play how they want to play, but in an event where it's next to impossible to find points other than grinding the targets, the limited targets that you do have when they drive makes it next to impossible to gain points by PvP.
You can't have it both ways.
But that means the event's busted, not the player.
Yeah.
Don't blame the player for playing the game.
Yeah.
You know, nobody apart from somebody that's attacking has ever complained about somebody driving their guard. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong. I choose not to. I set some of my things sometimes on auto to go and do things, but I won't drive a guard unless I really want to annoy somebody, you know, specifically. And I generally don't.
The only problem with driving your guard is that if you're offline, you can't win then, can you?
No. Well, potentially you might. You don't know. But in bounty specifically, people drive their guards. As Robin has said, I've earned that. I'm bloody well keeping it no matter what, and I want to trash you as quick as I can because as soon as you get out of my base, I've not only got to fix my guard, but I've also got to fix my base. Yeah. And you've only got 4 hours to do it in. Whereas that person that's got that one fleet, he may have another fleet, and he may send that one back and go and fix it, and then take out his secondary fleet and go and do some of the, you know, the ones on the sea if he wants to, or he may just coin it and move on to another base. I don't know. But so the mechanic of the event is dictating, in all honesty, that people drive their guards to save themselves coin.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. It's to save themselves coin. It's more so because it took them coin and time. Well, time is coin, isn't it? In the same things. They both correlate together. So rather than waste, as Robin said, 30K's worth, and all of a sudden, she will get on her racing car suit and she will go freaking drive like it's the last thing that was the most important thing in the world to her, because otherwise she's just throwing that away.
I even have sound effects for my driving.
Car number 6 coming up.
I did want to mention something, and G Daddy, you were on, so maybe if you don't mind, if I could put you on the spot.
Yeah.
The FM. Did you get the Greta from the raid?
Well, no, I got the Greta from the raid, yeah, but I got the new hull as well from this FM.
Oh, you got the new the weird. I was going to talk about that next, actually. So that's a nice transition, like that. Well done there, Roo. Let's talk about the FM then. So last month's raid prize, which was 40, which locked people in because it was on the ladder. It locked people from getting into the locked store. You had to take it no matter what, and then all of a sudden, literally a week later, it turns up in the FM. Now, is that Kixeye saying, my God, not enough people actually bother collecting the 40 million in the raid? Or is that Kixeye saying, if you don't, we're transitioning these targets and not enough people have got the correct hole now to go and do the new targets? We've already said there's a 120, 121. There's another one coming out. We're getting rid of 117. And the best thing you can do, and we're getting rid of 112s, you've either got a 111 and grind your arse off forever, or you've got to have this hole. So let's give it to them.
Yeah, I actually think it was a guilty feeling on their part because not a lot of people got that hull for 40 million. I mean, I had to even get help to get that 40 million. And I only got one prize out of this raid.
Really?
Yeah, just that one. Just that one.
Is it a guilty feeling or a nervous feeling on their part where they've started to do some transitions? They spent a lot of money. I mean, what's the cost-effective thing to them to do? Is to lose a bit of credibility and give people the hole for almost a gift, 8 million. Which it's certainly even doable just with with icebreakers and just hitting 111s. It is doable. Or have they gone face and go, yeah, we've got these new targets, but only 10% can hit them? Because that's, I think, where they were at, based on the number of people that actually played the raid and how many people actually got that top ship. Because a lot of people went, no, I'm going to pass that by. I don't need that. I've got X, Y, and Z. But they already had in their minds that they were doing 121s and all these new targets, which we weren't aware of.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I hate to bring out the Posy-roo, but they put the dragon in the FM. They put the toys for the dragon in the FM, and so I thought that was a really smart move. Now, was that based on the points that they had made earlier, where if you remember, they brought out the Apollo and then they brought in the Punisher and they revamped the whole FM to try and make it easier for lower levels to path their way to catch up. So they put the dragon out there, and so I think it was logical based on that with the target changes, and maybe there was maybe they looked at it and said, okay, how many people really did get the Greta, and how many of those people got only the Greta or couldn't get the Greta and couldn't get any further because of it. So I know there are some players that were frustrated and they feel like the time that they spent in the raid was devalued, and oh my God, I spent all this time grinding and only got just the Greta instead of the Makaras, and I really feel for those people. But I kind of like it. The FM is the cornerstone of the game. There have always been people, I can't catch up. I couldn't get 15 million points in the raid. I've only got Skyfires. No matter how much I grind, I still can't do it. So I kind of like it, and I hope they maybe continue to do this kind of stuff further on.
There's a flip side to that, Robin. The bit I've got is some of my lower levels said to me, right, what am I going to get in this raid? I went, there's only one thing I get in the raid, and you're going to get the Greta. I said, because the FM is the cornerstone. And they went, okay. And they went all out, literally, and we helped them as well. And we did some prepping and that sort of stuff. And they managed to get the 40, and they got the Greta. And it was and they got nothing else. And then a massive slap in the face a week later, and there it is, they're sitting for 8 million. They went, I could have done that myself with my icebreakers.
No, I agree with you. That's why I said I really feel for those. And what concerns me is if this is a one-off, and then the next time they release a new flag for the FM fleet, is everybody going to bank on the assumption, well, last time they threw it in the FM the week after the raid, and then people won't get it, and then it doesn't go back in the FM, and then people are screwed. So yes, I totally agree with that. In fact, I even said on a couple of posts on the page to people, I said, maybe contact CS and see if they'll let you switch it for the Makara. The worst they can do is say no. But yes, that is a valid, and I certainly agree with that.
But I don't like. Sorry, Ro, go on, carry on.
No, I was just thinking then, so why not in the FM put the Makara on one side and then put the Greta on the other side if you're going to do that? And not this other freaking ridiculous PvP ship that is in the complete wrong place.
Yeah. The only thing with that, though, is that we end up with raid prizes in the FM, and we're going to end up with 25 things that cost 9 million points.
I don't see why bounty prizes are in the FM.
Yeah.
I don't
know. Maybe there's not a happy space. I just liked the idea that it was like there was an attempt to help people.
I just think it was poor timing, personally. There we go.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that they put it as 1 week only. It's like, that's
that's done on one purpose, mate. That's to get people to hurry up and get it.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than saying it's Black Friday. Everyone come and get your toys now because tomorrow they're not available.
Yeah.
On top of the bounty week too, so you're grinding for your FM, and if you're low level, you're also looking for the one out of 50 targets that's a lower level to get points for that. So
the only bonus there is you've got 2 fixed crews at the moment. 2 slots in your dock. So
Yeah, but if you're driving, you can only drive one at a time.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah, it's all good, isn't it? Yeah. So talking of FM then. So targets. I'm glad the 117's going. Whilst it was doable, I didn't like the way it was produced. I've already prefer the 120. The fact they locked out the Kodiak, is that part of the reason they've done it? I don't really know. Maybe I did see something on a Kixeye. It was actually on last week's Rampage report. They actually admitted they didn't note it. They didn't think the players would start using the Kodiak again because it's such an old tier tech ship in the newer targets like the 112s and that sort of stuff. They didn't think that was...
players have always been smarter than Kix.
Is the 112 going before the 117 or 117 going before the 112?
Robin, you've got that answer. You've got a spreadsheet on that, haven't you?
Yeah, I can't remember it. The 117's already gone, hasn't it? And the 1112 goes at the end of... One goes at August and one goes in September.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a stage rollout basically.
Well, I can do both targets with the fleet that I've got, but I can do the 112. I can do 16 of them. With the 117, I could only do 10 of them.
And what's your fleet? What are you using, buddy?
It's Savage Kodiak and 4 Dragons.
Okay, so when the 112's gone, and when the 117's gone, then you're left with a 120, 121, and something that's coming new, maybe a 115 or something that they haven't decided to give us a number for yet. I'm really intrigued if that's going to be allowed to have a Savage in it, a tier 3 and our point something ship, or whether they're going to say, no, that's not available either.
Yeah, well, Derpy at the moment's posted 2 videos on my Hellhole page, and it's 120 and 121 done with icebreakers.
With the icebreakers, yeah. I had a go crack at myself. I must admit, 2.5 hours damage. I managed to get one for, I think it was 3.5 to 4 hours damage to the other one. I mean, a lot of damage and that sort of stuff. So yes, you can do it because the icebreaker is the right, it's the permissible level to go into those targets. It's not the go-to hull and that sort of stuff. And I wouldn't think that's the most cost-effective way in going and doing your FM by far. And I wouldn't advise people not to build the Gretas just because you can hit 120s. I think we need to find out what's this replacement for the 112 first.
Yeah, agreed.
And then how many points is it going to be worth? Is it going to be worth the same as what the 112 has been worth? There's too many unknowns at the moment. But they are doable. But it would be nice, wouldn't it, to allow us to decide what ships we want to take in and do our event and not have things blocked out.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are where we are. It's their game. They make the rules up. I don't agree with it, but it is what it is.
Well, look, at the moment, I'm in the middle of refitting my Skyfires because I've only just not long got them, and I'm going to try and get in because I've been using Phoenixes for the last 3 raids, and they are tough, I'll tell you, to do them 41s on auto, and getting 20 minutes to 30 minutes repair on them were ridiculous this time round. Whereas last time round and time before that, I were doing instant map repair on them
Really?
targets. But this time round, ridiculous. Between 20 and 30 minutes repaired.
Yeah, well, there was that crazy sort of like, you know, the raid started on the Thursday and there was that manic 24 hours where just the damage just went ludicrous. It went all over the place.
Yeah.
What that was all about.
I didn't even have 10 million points by nearly day 3.
Yeah, and that's something that's frustrating because, you know, and I get messages from people all the time, and especially if you're an alliance leader or you're someone that's involved with the game, and it's really frustrating when you see someone that's got, you know, an older fleet, but a really good, well-built older fleet who's willing to put the time in to grind the targets, but yet they can't.
They don't benefit from it, yeah.
Yeah, and so when you get a message from somebody who posts it and say, yeah, I did 141, and you know I got 4 hours of damage, and you know everybody's like, oh, well, what's your build? Your build must be broken. When you know the build is good, and that's really, and that's part of what I think, whether intentionally or unintentionally, I think Kix misses, is that you've got lower players who may not be big coiners, who may not, you know, have the best fleets and $50 to spend on the game, but are willing to put the time in and grind it. And it's like they're being shut out. And everybody who is a coiner today at one point was not a coiner. And everybody who's a coiner today at one point ground their butt off in a raid in the beginning. We all did it. You know, we all put our time in. And by keeping us engaged, though, kept us in the game to where we're at now. And players that are disheartened that can hit one target and then have to come back and repair for an hour are not going to keep doing that. And they're certainly not going to do it when they're getting, you know, 5,000 points towards 10 million. That's the nearest prize that they can get. So I don't know if the answer is fleet level blocks, target lock, or base level, or however they do it, but they've got to start paying attention to the gazillions of players that are willing to put the time and effort in who are at the lower level and reward them for their time.
You know, yeah,
it's not that I'm a low level though. I'm a level 108. Why should I be hitting level 41 targets? Because I can't get the time to build the fleets because they're holding stuff back, like the Manticore. It took me second raid before I got the Manticore. So why can't I ain't got time to build the fleets that they want me to build? I ain't even built the Manticore. I've got 4 blanks sat there. I ain't built them.
Yeah, it is frustrating. There you go, Robin. That's the chart, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they actually held me back that much that I couldn't build the fleet. So,
and then that's where I'm sort of sitting now. Whereas where I'm finding it frustrating that they put a PvP ship in the FM, and maybe they should have just thrown the last one in there, or done another little quick TLC that people would have got it on. I don't really know. And why isn't that PvP ship in a TLC instead of it being in the FM? It's a really weird thing to do. But yeah, so transition, look, July, okay. And the new target that's going to replace the 112, we don't know what it is yet. It'll be new in August, starting on the 8th, okay. So that's next week after this event will be the new target, or whatever level it's going to be. I'm guessing we've got a 120, 121, everything's going up by 2 or 3, isn't it? So probably a 115, I'd guess. 115, 116, something like that, it'll be called, I'm guessing.
That's like 3 days before the raid starts, then, isn't it? The changing.
Yeah, so yeah, starting on the 8th, there's that one there, look. So that's that 1 week. And then obviously, well, in fact, that says it's starting on the 8th. That's interesting. Or sorry, 16th of the 8th, sorry, isn't it? Not the other way around. Sorry, it's an American term, isn't it? 16th of the 8th. So that's after the FM. Sorry, after the raid's finished. July, we've lost nothing at the moment. But obviously we do lose the 117, look.
I'm glad they're taking 117 away rather than 112. It still gives me a chance to be able to do FM.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I know that 2 or 3 of the dragons with the Cody does 112 is absolutely fine. So if you do need to crash out and get as many points as you can, at least.
We lost Mark.
Uh-oh.
I think we've lost Mark.
You can do that.
Oh, he's back. Welcome back, Mark.
Does it disappear, which will help you get the
Uh-oh.
token.
Well, we're losing Mark.
Mark, you're cutting out, mate. You're cutting out, mate. You sound like that comedian guy.
Okay, let me exit. I'll come back in.
But Yep. So that I think that confirms the raid is August the 8th is the next one that's coming up.
Yeah.
Is a little bit early, but it still did give us the three weeks with the FM and the points for that. So we've got that, the TLCs this weekend. Has anybody had time to do the TLCs?
No, I don't do TLCs myself.
Okay.
They're asking us to get what 12 plus million in FM if you don't have the flagship for your dragons, and then you've got bounty. So where's the time coming from to do TLCs?
I was just curious if anybody. I haven't done any of them either. I still finished my FM or my bounty, but I'm still working on that.
Is it August 9th raid, isn't it? 9th to 15th?
8th or 9th or something. Yeah, maybe it is the 9th. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yep, it is. It is the 9th. I just knew it was the first week in August. So we've got that. Then we lose the 117 after that. Okay, well, I guess Mark's going to be coming back here soon, hopefully. Does anybody else have anything they wanted to touch on?
I'm back.
There you are.
Hey, kids stealing the internet. You gotta love hot summer holidays, eh?
Yeah, Rum, you've been awfully quiet for a while. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, it's all, we're all still here.
Come on, we've got one thing we haven't discussed, and that's Kixeye employees and the cycle rate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and I'm not going to go into the reasons.
Retention rate.
Yeah, just the retention rate and the knowledge gap. Let's go back to Rampage report. Not this week's, because Rampage announced that he was leaving. Zero notice, to the community that was happening. So it must have been a spur of the moment decision for whatever the.
Oh, he's gone again.
Corporates.
Bye, Mark.
But the week before that is obviously the announcement of the wrong thinker.
Yeah.
So yeah, discuss. I mean, where's the knowledge in the game to take it forward? They don't know what they're doing because they don't play it.
Well, it's clearly not with wrong thinker after watching that podcast. If anyone watched it, it was interesting. Some of the things he was trying to say, which made some people facepalm quite hard.
Yeah. So we have a CM that doesn't know anything now about the game. Oh, okay, a temporary CM. He's the CM for the whole of Kixeye. So he's been told to come in and look after it while Rampage has left rapidly for reasons that seem personal. So if it is personal and there's something really seriously going on in his life, then that real life happens. Hey, it's only a game. But the knowledge base is deteriorating. That's my concern. At a time where they say players first.
Rampage really didn't have that much knowledge to begin with about the game, did he?
No.
He came from a different gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. But ultimately he has, give it or not, he was still here for a year. And one thing we lost when we had the updates, at least we got Rampage reports, as interesting as they were, at least they were there.
Yeah.
It gives a bit of knowledge, didn't it? Now we don't know whether Whip's going to come back or what, if Robot's going to take charge over again, we don't know.
I don't know, but
no, I hope they can. I hope they continue the Rampage reports or Rampage replacements or whatever it was, because love it or hate it, it was nice to get that information up front. So I certainly hope that those continue.
I taking out the side that he's, Chris is no longer here, so Rampage has moved on. Okay, I just think that someone that's got the face of this particular game and is to interact with the type of community that plays the game, you've got to have a certain amount of persona and a certain presence. Let's put it that way. So I'm hoping they select somebody not just, because if you're publicly out there, you've got to set yourself in a position, and everyone keeps referring back to Swag, and Swag was there when I, even after I started, but he was there in the main, and that's the main sort of customer facing individual that was gutsy and really sort of like invigorating and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know if he was out on a limb doing his own thing or whatever, but it was infusing, or was it just happened to be at an infusing time when the game was in its high? I don't know, but something definitely needs to happen.
Shall we start a petition page up to bring Swag back over to?
I don't think that's going to happen.
That'll be fun.
But as a concept, and it's not just about can you eloquently put information out and that sort of stuff. You've got to have a presence about you.
Yeah. Well, you used to do all videos as well, didn't you, for Raid itself? The little intro videos.
It used to intro the videos. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they still do their videos, and some are reasonable and some are goddamn awful, to be honest. And they've had some fun doing some of the videos. But it used to be nice when Swag used to introduce them himself. So, because that's the public face of the game. So, yeah, I don't know.
The only problem I see with things like that, putting themselves out there, is another repeat of what happened to Doom Rooster, where every time he came onto a show, he'd say, "Oh, this is coming and this is happening," and a week later, it was all different because they changed it on him. And it just, yes, you can have all the personality in the world that's correct for the situation, but that's going to beat you down very quickly. Every time you say something that they've told you to say, and they go around and change it after you said it, it's it's basically stabbing you in the back.
Yeah. Well, and that's a Kix problem in itself as a whole, whether it be the message not getting to the front out to the players or not. But how many times have we seen last minute things get thrown in, over damage, all of that kind of stuff. So that has to stop across the board, and not just, from the communication perspective. But I hope to see that the communication continues and is still clear and good. And recently, at least, they've done a good job of giving heads up. And so I certainly hope that doesn't change and we end up in the horrible black void where we don't know stuff until it smacks us in the face after it's been released.
Well, it's even gone further than that, hasn't it? Because even Will Arbon come out and put a letter out saying that it's for the players first and all that. I mean, I haven't seen nothing yet that's players first, but there you go.
Well, I will say that you can't change things on a dime. And we all should know that yes, there's going to be things that they need to fix, but they can't turn the game on its head in a week and fix everything programmatically in a week. That's just impossible. So, but yeah, we still got Mark. Do we lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just curious with bandwidth at the moment. That's all.
Yeah.
Band-aids and baby steps. That's what they said, didn't they, about 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Baby steps. I don't know. We just that takes us full circle to the start of the show, doesn't it? Are the prizes worth having, this bounty? Meh. I don't know. Are you still going to go and get them just in case they tweak them and do something to them later as they have done before? Look at the sloths as a classic example, like Venom was saying. 1 minute they're good, next minute they're not. That's because tech sort of changes and the delivery armors is the thing that's brought sort of like sloths back into the bus. Made a huge transition. I think quite a few people have been caught out actually using sloths at the moment with obviously introduction with Jav 2, because if you haven't got something decent on your suits.
Every time I go to build them, something comes out that kills them, and I'm like, yes, I didn't have to build them. And then 2 weeks later, Venom comes along, swacks my base, and I'm like, damn it, now I got to build them. So I have these naked sloths that I've had since they come out.
Yeah, I've got 2 naked sloths as well sat in the dock.
I'll send you a build, Robin. These are doing all right. They're pretty strong. They can handle jabs.
Going back to this new hull anyway in FM that they've put in there, this PvP one, is it going to be worth building?
Who knows?
Which one?
The 9 million. 9 million.
For killing fleets, no. For doing damage to buildings, yes. The issue I see coming is there's probably going to be a new armor for your base defense. So, like the missile and like the explosive, a 500,000 armor point plus defense armor special.
Is it going to be like a click back at base on an NPC target? Like
the fleet it goes with In some bases, yes, you can kick the back of a base, but you could do that now without having it.
Yeah, I do it with two MSCs at the moment.
The fleet
base on NPC targets.
The problem with this hull is, and it's not so much to do with the hull itself, but more to do with the way PvP is set up at the moment, where they can throw as much damage percentage on that as they want that buffs the fleet, but it's doing jack diddly squat because you're only going to be doing min pass through to the guard anyway. So you could do the same amount of damage without it currently, but to buildings you'll be doing more with it.
Is it radioactive deflection that's on that as well? I was just trying to look at picture then whoever was showing that with you then.
It's random ballistic, isn't it? Yeah.
Random, yeah.
So you've got to try and crank up from the base level, like the previous ship is, and get as much pen as you can.
Is it to stop the no turret then that they've just brought out, the radioactive turret?
Well, the Ifrit can do that.
Oh, the Ifrit can do that.
The Ifrit can do it better. It's got 1.5 or something million radioactive deflection. This is quite literally just there to buff your impact cruisers and Ifrits.
Right.
And it's just there. You can ignore the deflection, it's tiny. It's just 35% ballistic damage or 35% radioactive damage. And when you're doing that, that's specific to buildings. It's not going to help you against the guard.
Right.
Unless the guard's a potato guard.
The reason why I asked is because I ain't got no impact cruisers or Ifrits, so I just picked that up for note really. Never mind.
Yeah, just on a side note, don't go with what it says paired with. That's a lie. Ignore that.
Oh yeah, that's supposed to be changing, isn't it, Robin?
Yeah,
what it's paired with. They're supposed to be adjusting that.
It's another classic fail.
Definitely don't go with what it says it's paired with, because it's not. Have you got the screen up of you on that one?
Yeah.
Ignore everything that says it's paired with this, because it's not.
Or pairs well with is not correct.
Oh no, it doesn't.
Because it doesn't. It might be handy to add something of there, but like get yourself some explosive defense and that sort of stuff. But it doesn't pair well with those sort of things.
Well, yeah, we're looking at it myself, and it gives you precision missile, doesn't it? And why would it give you precision missile on a ballistic radioactive?
Yeah, none of them 4 items are specific to any of the boosts that this hull gives.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't touched the Ifrit fleet, personally at all, and I won't be building this thing either.
Yeah.
Whilst I've got, I mean, like I said, I don't do massive amounts of base hitting, and while I've got a fleet that can hit the large percentage of bases that I look at, that'll do me. Thank you very much, and I'll wait until that fleet doesn't do its job anymore, and then I'll either look to see if I can refit it, or as is ever with Kixeye, the trains just keep on running. So I'll wait till the next one pulls in the station and see if that ship's any good.
Yeah. But I'll just reiterate the point again. This hull is not a wonder hull. It is not going to dramatically increase your ability to hit a base. The 35% damage boost will only affect the buildings, since you're never going to break the deflections on a well-built guard ship. So don't go out expecting miracles from this hull. It's not going to do that. It'll help you kill an OP slightly faster, but that's it.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that.
I've not touched them, I must admit. I've not missed them, so.
Cool.
I have one, and it throws really cool flaming stuff. And the only reason that one works is because Madam helped me with it. It's kind of fun. I mean, visually, it's kind of fun, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to finish the other ones.
Yeah. Radiation ships are always like that. They're very visual, aren't they? And they used to slow your game down, but clearly, obviously, now the game's transitioned into obviously a new dynamic, and it's got a new, GPU acceleration model that's working perfectly well at the moment. So.
Oh, what if they're going to bring out another launcher, and that'll boost it up, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest.
Because they should be bringing out a new launcher soon, shouldn't they? I mean, I think last one we had was 98U, wasn't it?
Yeah. Again, it's still not going to do terribly much on that hull. To guard ships, you're still going to have the same problem you had before.
Yeah. Okay, I just wondered. Thanks.
It's not good. Okay, and the last thing, obviously, raid's coming up. It's going to be the tech store raid and that sort of stuff. Are we going to get the new hull going forward for the next cycle in this one? Possibly, don't know, but more than likely. What's it going to be? Because it's skirmish, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are we going above the water or are we going below the water? If it's only going to be a single hull, we can't have both. So are we going above the sea or below the sea? What do you reckon?
It'll probably be the auto hull. I'm hoping, from what was said during...
Well, it should just be a hull. So it's either going to be a sub or it's going to be a surface.
I think they'll go surface, then they can put thermal in and stop people using subs.
They could still do a mix, so a CIC that makes it a sub.
Yeah, what's to stop one from being like torps underwater and other weapons while on the surface?
Yeah.
The Reaper.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Reaper 2.
Or you put a CIC on it and one makes it a sub and the other one makes it a surface.
A prototype Reaper.
And on that note,
yeah.
Anyone else remember how broken the Reapers were?
No, the Reapers weren't broken until they intentionally broke them. The Reapers were an awesome sub.
The Reapers were a good sub up until the point that they changed that mechanic, and that was it. That was the start of when things got really
wonky,
sort of wonky in the game. Actually,
well, that when you changed that 75% on your base or something.
Oh, it just
yeah.
I think they ought to make the Reaper come back and be able to kill all thermal.
Just what you said there, Proto. Let us have that as let the raid ship be the proto ship that goes into the stupid SSRB. For the love of goodness, don't give us another hull for the SSRBs, please. I beg you.
And speaking of raid and SSRBs, it is the tech store raid. It is the longer raid. You have the regular map targets, but you're not going to have the ability to get resources during the raid. So start saving your daily chests.
Yeah, stack them up.
Just on that as well, please, Kixeye, it's a store raid. Don't overprice the new stuff. We've got plenty to get already.
Well, just like this event.
Well, heck, there was plenty last raid. I mean, what much more could they almost had?
I thought that was a tech store raid. There was that much kit in it.
Also, don't forget as well, all base targets have now changed. Base part targets have now changed. So if you haven't got a fleet for that, you're screwed there as well.
Yeah, I have a problem with that, and it's a big problem, and it's why are you screwing Buccaneer?
Yep,
fleets?
exactly.
The whole thing of let only the skill hull do the decent targets is a complete joke, since they made both the top tier targets both should be able to do the target.
And the disparity.
It's ridiculous. And then you go down to targets. I tested out the level 82 target because someone posted on the forums that it was too difficult. Once your charge disappears, it can kill a Buccaneer fleet in 3 shots. What the hell?
Yep. There's some huge disparity in all of the targets. Not just the base play. It's almost like a chasm where you step over the edge and you go from 30 minutes damage for 15,000 K or something to 3 hours for 40K of something.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And I also did some testing the other day with the Buccaneers and the Hydras, and the Hydras were doing better on auto than the Buccaneers were, and the Buccaneers couldn't even finish the targets.
I have a huge problem where it comes to you give us a choice where 2 hulls can do the raid equally, and then you bring out targets on the map which completely shut down one side. That is completely wrong.
Well, especially because they gave away. I wouldn't say they gave away. They gave the players the opportunity to help other players through the co-op get the Buccaneer, which should have covered for the base parts targets and worked phenomenally well in the old base parts targets. So you've got a lot of mid-ish level players who've got the Buccaneer fleet and have no hope of getting, the Hydra or spending the time to build that at this late stage that can't get base parts.
Me. That's me.
They've
Build the
already
Hydra.
they already screwed the Buccaneers in the SSRBs. They shouldn't have screwed it in the targets outside.
No, map targets should always be able to be done by the applicable fleet or fleets that were the raid that they were used in.
I can certainly understand if it had been where they give an auto hull and they give a skill hull, but the auto hull couldn't do the top targets. Yes, that's fine.
Mhm.
It should be the top hull does the top target, but you've got two top hulls. Don't screw us over by only letting one of them do the target. That's stupid.
Yeah. Well, they did the same with titanium targets because my Phoenixes can't do the higher level targets that titanium ones, but hopefully my Skyfire fleet will. So I'm now having to build a Skyfire fleet just to get titanium before they change them. And hopefully they'll do new targets. That's why I can't build the Hydra Siege Cruiser right now.
You can't build it because of what?
Because I'm building the Skyfires at the
All
moment.
right.
I'm having to build the Skyfires where most people were given them or they bought them, I
I was gonna
can't.
say, you locked out for a while, didn't you? I mean, I'd have thought that you might have got those. I'm surprised you didn't.
No, I never got the Skyfire at all. Not until a couple of raids ago, I think. Maybe one raid ago, 2 raids ago.
Ooh. Slightly annoying, mate.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, right. We're gonna sort of like pull pins in a minute. So, do you anything else in the game, mate, that you want to discuss, or anything else you want to just quickly bring up? That's either a good thing or a bad thing. Either way, doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I'll second what Heffy says. Really, and we really need to get them specials and weapons and armors all sorted out in there so that we can have some kind of way to build ships better, so that we can find things that match other things. Like with splash and with damage and range and all that kind of thing. It all needs sorting out, really.
The way it's been, as in the order they pop up. You mean?
Yeah, I think
It's frustrating now. There's so many there. You can't. It's woods for trees, isn't it? You can't see them.
yeah, it's hard to find what to put where, and even if you've got a picture of it, it's still hard to find that one item.
So you want them? What? How would you like it done? In groups or?
In groups of like what
Damage
Heffy
types,
said,
or
Yeah, with splash and all that kind of stuff. So that that you can't put this with this because it's got so much splash. You can't add splash with splash, or you can't do this with this. That kind of thing. They need to sort it out. It needs a better way of being sorted than what it is now.
Yeah, you're not the first person that said that. Actually, I must admit, and I know Heffy's been quite on about that quite a bit recently.
Yeah, that's I'll second Heffy on that one. That really needs doing. Does that now?
Yeah, maybe that's something for people in the town hall to talk about. I'm not on that, so. But yeah, okay. Rum, anything, mate?
Get rid of the friggin' walls in the FM and the SSRB that are almost impossible to get through.
Let's give us a cannon vehicle, and all of a sudden cannons can't get through the walls without taking loads of damage because you can't kite because you've got to stop, and because you're stopping, you're taking damage. It's just like it's a.
Well, it's the built-in damage. It's the booger missile for the other targets. It's their mandatory damage.
It's annoying as hell, isn't it?
Absolutely.
No, I agree with you, mate. Totally agree with you. Yeah, and I don't even use, and I've got proto Centurions now. It took me a month to build them, and I don't use them now for going and getting my titanium. I use my Hydras.
Yeah, I still use my Cadies.
It's frustrating, but
yep.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Absolutely agree with you on that one there. Then I'm still playing. Anything from you, buddy?
Yeah. Did anyone else notice the amount of deals? I'll put that in quotes. Deals.
37.
Right.
I think I got this week.
I got 39, but one interested me more than the rest,
Go on.
or two, sorry. You, for 105 gold, which was the equivalent you would have had if you just bought the gold instead of the deal. For 105 gold, you could have got 175,000 uranium. If you went into the little shop icon at the top left when you're in your base,
Yeah.
you could get 200k for 12.
Was that a one-off offer? Oh, actually, yeah, I've got 100,000 uranium sitting in mine now for 5.
Yes. Basically 100 gold more than usual you would have spent
That's
if you
ludicrous.
had have went and got that deal. They did the same with base parts as well. I didn't figure out the base parts because I just gave up the will to live at that point. But 100 more gold for 175,000 uranium is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Whoever came up with the deals for that was completely out of their mind.
Well, that's sort of saying that it's probably 2 different people, or maybe more different people doing the sales, because they're not seeing what the other person's doing.
No, it's the same guy that designed the building of walls.
Well, remember though that deals rotate, so not everybody has the same deal. So you could, I might have the offer for uranium, and Venom may not. So whereas, and the same thing for offers in the store and stuff. It's funny where someone will say, "Oh, look at this." There are gold ones that usually go out to everybody, but even then there are different levels. And then someone will get the offer for this fleet for, fire sale 350, and half the other people won't get it.
That just brought back a bad memory. We're going to get OP11 sometime.
It's the same problem we had back when they were giving deals for ships that didn't make any sense, such as they put out the Axiom turret and then immediately give us, I think it was 5 rages for a stupid amount. So it was basically pointless to even buy, but people, people who don't know any better would have went and bought it.
Well, speaking of deals, have you seen that deal for 5 Vanquishers? Is that the Vanquisher that's unstoppable in your base guard?
It is not unstoppable, but it's decent.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people saying they can't get in bases with Vanquisher guards, and if that's the fleet that they're giving away, then you're going to be stuck in bounty.
I can confirm that they are very beatable if you use the right thing, but they are still a great deal for anyone who doesn't have a base guard.
Right. So we'll be expecting you to post a build on TFC page then, will we, Venom?
No.
Worth a shot, wasn't it?
It's never going to happen. Right, cool, excellent. Robbie, anything to close for yourself?
No, nothing from me.
You're good.
No.
Super duper. Yeah, the Vanquisher for low levels, that $10 fleet, whatever it was, and that sort of stuff. That was probably the best deal in there again, which was quite cheap, I think. But apart from that, the rest of it was. The cost that it was for a single sloth, I thought was phenomenal. A bit of a joke, but hey, the bus, well, I don't know. It's a flagship. It works. It's somewhere in the average price. It's nice to have the bus. It's definitely worth having, but the price there for a sloth, I thought was laughable, to be honest.
The builds for the sloths were laughable too.
Oh yeah. They're going off the old tech, aren't they? So
it's not just old tech. It's just old tech that's also
didn't work at the time. Then let alone now.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's good
but if you haven't got the blueprint for the bus, which is probably going to be in the tech store already anyway, it should be quite low. So
Do remember though, and a good point on them offers is whatever you get on them ships, you also get as blueprints for
the specials and bits.
Yeah, everything on them ships.
Yeah, and that is a good thing, because there are certain things in there that like the MC Plate 2, I think, was on one of them and that sort of stuff. So if you haven't got that blueprint, then obviously that can be worthwhile. If it's down to that individual. There's no point someone saying, yeah, go and buy that, because I can't tell someone to go and do something or not do something, because everyone plays the game their way, as they should.
Yeah, so it was good when they included the tech up stuff that was in there. Like you could get, I think it was the Spites. The Spites that they sold was like $3, and it had Speed System 6 on it.
Yeah.
And so anybody that wasn't able to finish tech up was able to buy those just to get Speed System 6 print.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the same with the guard ship there. It had the, I think it was autoloaders 4.
Oh, that's it. It gives the rad
Yep.
reload as well,
Yep.
doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can always go and buy yourself a Greta flagship if you wanted to for like a gazillion pounds. I was like that. Oh, that looks expensive. I don't think I'll be doing that one somehow.
Or you can get it out at FM for 8 million points.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been interested to see how many people, at what level can people, I'm wondering how many people actually who didn't do raid or weren't here for raid have now managed to get that ship. I'd like to see, be really interested to see the statistics of how many people actually now took part in this FM this week that normally get that level of points. I can imagine it's probably quite a few.
Yeah, and there's a few out there. I've seen people in my sector and a couple of
People
my
are still doing it
alliances.
now. I've seen people this weekend whilst this is on, and maybe they don't do bounty. I don't really know, but there's definitely more people out there still FMing of a low level. So there must be more people going for it.
It's
More
cost me a
power
little
to
bit of a grind. Cost me a little bit of a grind this week because I can do the 112 for 23 minutes to 30 something minutes repair. So I've been letting that repair, going out and doing another 112 and so on until I got 9 million points and got that hull.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to have a quick look and see what other deals were there just before we do close off for the night. I have to go back in my base and have a little look.
All my deals for some reason are now gone.
Oh, maybe they timed out. They weren't very long, were they?
No, they weren't long at all.
Yeah, let me have a quick look. They did say like 2.5 days or something like that, didn't they?
I've just gotten so used to I skip good ones, because there's so many of them out there and they're so often, and then I'll see somebody post something on the page and go, hang on a minute, and then I'll go take a look and say, oh yeah, that's not a bad deal, but
Oh yeah, all the deals are gone. Yeah, so we can't look now.
there'll be new ones tomorrow.
Yeah, wait till tomorrow. There'll be exactly 3 efforts for built with, I don't know, some random thing and that sort of stuff. But anyway, right, okay, let's pull the plug. Thanks all for tuning in. It's been interesting, another interesting week. Somebody come in the game, please, from Kixeye that knows how to play the game and knows, how it should move forward. Because I mean, we can only deliver what's happening. I don't have an input on how it's happening. All I can just say is stick with it as long as you can stick with it. And if you don't like it, don't stick around. It's as simple as that. You can only vote with your feet. You can't do any more than that. While you're still getting enjoyment out of it, enjoy it. And we'll try to give you as much update of what's going on as possible. No point ranting on our page because we aren't the people to rant to. You have to go to the forums for that one. But if you'd like to find out what we can and can't, assist you with, then keep plugging away at the questions, because we've answered quite a few this week, and there's been some good little wins. Only small stuff, but I've seen 2 or 3 videos of icebreakers managed to do. I did one myself of icebreakers managed to do targets and that sort of stuff, and some real good wins on some slight adjustments to raid fleets as well. So
I'm sorry, but can you see the comment chat? Send all PMs to Ford.
oh bless.
Yeah, poor guys are going to signed off for the day.
Is Ford still on, or has he disappeared?
No, he left early.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Okie dokie. Right. It's time to shoot. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for guys coming on the panel. It's been good fun.
And
Take care.
We'll see you guys Tuesday.
Yeah. All the best.